Okay, it's been just a little bit, about a week since I've been on this boat. So just going to give everybody an update. I've got the old outdrive off, including the bell, because the bell from the rebuild was cracked. Flip this. This is the old outdrive that I pulled off. I've taken the outdrive off, and I've taken it off the bell. I haven't opened up this outdrive yet. I'm still waiting to hear back from the guy who built it to see if he's even remotely going to do anything with this outdrive. I'm almost to the point where I really don't want him to touch it. I want to tear into it myself to see what's wrong. This is the new outdrive. It's not new. Bought used, complete outdrive, everything all the way down to the shift cable. Everything bolts up to the boat and everything. However, I'm not taking the stern or whatever, that's the bracket off the boat, not taking that off. But I am going to use this bell because mine was cracked right here rather. Or no, mine was cracked right here, right there. So I'm going to use this bell. I'm going to use this bellows on this one. I've got a new exhaust bellows. I've got a new bellows for up here, but I tore it taking it off. But I didn't have the tool to press it back in anyway, so it really didn't matter. So I'm going to clean this one up a little bit, treat it a little bit. It'll easily make it through this summer. The shaft looks good. The shaft and U-joints, everything's greased, everything's tight, everything feels good. I'm gonna run this prop for a little bit. This prop on this one, even though it was brand new, is the wrong size. So I've talked with a few people about my boat. At 3/4 throttle, it's running, 40, 41 miles an hour. Full throttle, I only get 2 or 3 more miles per hour out of it, and the prop is cavitating. And from what I'm told, that just means the prop is outrunning itself. So I'm gonna try this prop. I haven't checked the pitches yet, but I'm gonna try this prop because it's four blade. The pitch may be a little bit more. This outdrive is actually came off a V8 boat. This one was actually originally on a 6-cylinder boat. So the gear ratios are a little bit different on those. From what I've read, the V8s are a little lower geared, but they may make them lower geared so you can put a steeper pitch prop. I really don't know all the details of that. So this one here was an Alpha 1 Gen 1. This is Alpha 1 Gen 2. I'm not even going to open this one. Everything in it is good from what I'm told. I'm going to take this fin off of this one, put it on this one once it's on. I'm going to attempt to put this outdrive on this 2-wheeler or 4-wheeler as it is now. I'm going to try to put the whole thing in. So this is what we got to work with. It's not going to be easy. That bearing in there is still good, even though it's got the grease is a little discolored. I'm going to wipe that off, re-grease everything. I'm changing the shift cable with this because the other shift cable was damaged. It was touching the exhaust inside. It's not bad, but it's just this cable is good, so it's just as easy to go ahead and do that. But anyway, long story short, that's just a little update on what's going on with this boat. I am going to take this outdrive apart. I've got some guys that were with me when we took this boat out for the first time. They saw the boat when I bought it, when I received it, and they were with me on the first trip out. They were with me every minute of the trip, so they know that it wasn't abused, didn't hit anything, whatever. I'm not trying to mislead anybody, but I do want to know what happened to this outdrive. If he's not going to fix the outdrive, then he's not going to replace it. Then I want people to know that sometimes it's better just to work on your own stuff. I do that a lot. Most of the stuff I rebuild motors, transmissions, rear ends, whatever, my own stuff. I don't do other people's stuff. But just because I don't trust anybody to work on my stuff. That's all there is. And yes, behind me here, that is Dirty Hooker. That's my side-by-side. We're not doing the side-by-side stuff this year. I shut it down. There's nothing really wrong with it. I'm going to go up another 6 inches with it. I've done all the fab work myself, and then when I do the other 6-inch lift kit, I'll do that fab work too. I will buy the lift kit, of course, but it's going to have to be fabricated to fit my portals because they don't make one for it. So, but anyway, that's the the shot of it. That's the old infamous dirty hooker right there. She's a beast. She's not the biggest one out there by no stretch. Matter of fact, by now she's probably the smallest one out there for the most part, unless you come out with something stock. But I like that side by side. I've rebuilt the motor in it. I've upgraded the rear differential in it. I've stretched it 4 inches. I moved the rear diff back. I put 6-inch portals on it, 38-inch BKT tractor tires on it. I put power steering in it. I did a radiator relocate on it. Got the radiator to the back there. I've got XM satellite radio on it, amp. Pretty much everything you need just to go out and have fun. But I didn't want to, I caught it in the camera and I didn't want to say nothing about it. She deserves a little recognition. She's part of my chaos. But anyway, this old boat, I love this old boat. I'm going to show y'all another picture of it. If y'all ever get a chance to buy something like this and you're interested in an old boat, man, this boat right here it's easy to work on, and she's a beast, man. This boat right here is an 88 Wellcraft Aruba 232. You'll see people call it 23 feet. You'll see people call it 24 feet. I don't know what the indifference is other than maybe just the anchor. I don't know. Being that it's a model 232, that would lead me to believe that the manufacturer considers it a 23 foot. Anyway, there she is. I've had her up to 45 miles an hour. It's got a V8 in it. Didn't come out with a V8. Okay, it's got a Vortec V8 in it now. It had a Mercruiser 6-cylinder in it. But she shined up pretty good. She still needs a little bit of professional help on the polishing. I'm gonna hit it one more time this year, but after that it'll be in professional hands of some shape or another. This is a pattern of the windshield that I busted out. The only thing I didn't have to touch on this boat was the windshield, other than cleaning it. And I caught a limb on the windshield wiper. It twisted the windshield wiper, busted the glass out. It's unfortunately tempered glass. Unfortunately, I can't buy that here, and I had to pull the old glass out and make a pattern. I have to send that pattern off to have glass made for it. Now, I don't think that's what I'm going to do. I went ahead and went through the process just because I may do that, but for the most part, I didn't like the glass anyway. It was super, super thin. It's a 1/8 of an inch thick straight glass that they bow in a rounded shape. I don't really care for that in the first place, but I was up on the front of the boat one day messing with the anchor, and when I walked around, I kind of lost my balance just a little bit, and I leaned over, touched the glass, and it bowed in quite a bit. And I thought, man, just a little bit more than that would have busted. So it made me nervous, because if you're going to go to the lake and you're going to be hanging out and you're going to have kids or whatever, it doesn't matter. Somebody fall back on that. I don't want them to be able to fall through it. So what I'm thinking about doing is doing 1/4 inch thick tinted Lexan or something pretty hard that could still be polished out if it needed to be. And something that I can do myself. I can have one made, and then when they make it, I can have them make me a pattern for it. So if I ever need one, they can save it in their file as my boat windshield, and they can just cut me one out, a couple $100, and it'll be pretty easy to put in. And I can take that center divider out of the windshield if I want to. I won't have to have that center divider now. I make one piece all the way across, and then have the side glasses tinted to make it look right. Anyway, I'm gonna get back on this boat. I'm trying to get this boat back in the water by next weekend. So I'm doing this by myself. All my friends are at the lake this weekend. I was going to try to make it this weekend. Didn't happen. I did get my new, I'm excited to see how these with the camera. These are my Bennett Marine trim tab kit. So the trim tab kit on this one was bad. It wasn't bad. The pump was bad. The tank was leaking. The controller was bad. Here they are right here. They're hydraulic trim tabs, which helps plane the boat out, helps keep it level at high speeds. This boat originally came with those trim tabs from the factory. It was all factory wired. It was an old style where you manually have to adjust it every time you take off, every time you do whatever. The new kit that I ordered has an automatic controller on it, and it has a brain and everything that goes into the dash. I haven't dove into it, but I do know, hang on, somebody trying to call me. I do know that you take it out on the water, pick yourself a couple speeds that you like to travel at. So far, this boat really likes 28 and 39 miles an hour. That's going to change with this new outdrive, but in the end, there will be two speeds that it's going to like. A real low, just off, just barely off plane probably, and then something closer to top end. And then you can, just like your car seats, you can set a memory for different drivers. You can set a memory for different speeds on this new kit. So when you get ready to take off, you just push whichever one you want, and it'll start off all the way down to jumping up on plane. But as you speed up, they will adjust and get to that level where you had it preset. So essentially automatic. If you got 5 people in the boat and they all walk over to the other side to look at dolphins swimming in the lake, of course that's never gonna happen, and the boat tries to lean, the trim tabs will correct it. If you got a lot of fuel on one side and nothing on the other side, it doesn't matter. As you're driving at speed, the trim tabs are going to keep the front of the boat down, and it's going to keep it level unless you're turning. But it knows when you're turning, it knows when you're going straight. Anyway, I'm going to cut this video off. I got to get back to work. I'm going to try to, I know these videos are not very good. This is just documenting what I'm going through with this boat. I did find, in my last video, I said that I did not think that the water was leaking in through that bellows for the shaft, but that actually is where the waters are getting in the boat. I knew it could get into the bellows, but for where I originally saw the water coming in at, I didn't think that was lining up with the bellows for the shaft. But after pulling everything apart and looking at it, definitely that's where my water was getting into the boat, was that bell housing was cracked from when they did the rebuild. Now, I think it was cracked before they did a rebuild. I don't think they cracked it when they did the rebuild or when they pulled that off. They may have, I don't know. But whether they did or whether they didn't spot that, and that was a problem for me. So a problem I'm dealing with. And this is the one I just pulled off right here. The bell housing I just pulled off, and right there is the crack again, of course. So that's the crack, and like I said, this outdrive came with everything I needed. So hopefully there won't be no issues slipping this on. My understanding of it is it'll pop right in. This is a little bit beefier outdrive, somewhat. I don't know if there's a massive difference, but I do know it's supposed to be different. Anyway, so I'm gonna get off here. I'll try to get some video done when I get this back together, and then hopefully maybe I can get some video when we take this thing back out for the first time. It's not gonna be this weekend, but Target will be next weekend, because we're trying to get this thing ready for Memorial Weekend, which is the weekend I plan on being at the lake the whole weekend, and maybe a couple extra days. Anyway, y'all have a good day and find something to work on. I mean, really, get you an old boat. I got a friend of mine just bought an old boat for $900. It's probably the best purchase he ever made. And you're not scared to work on them. Tear it apart. If you break something and you need some help, you'll have a buddy somewhere that knows how to help you fix it. You'll have guys online that can talk you through it. Whatever. Just don't be scared to work on your own stuff, because what scares me is other people working on my stuff. I never let people touch anything of mine. If this motor went out in this boat, I would change it myself. I would rebuild it myself, or I'd buy a crate motor. I would do whatever. I would do anything but take it to a shop and drop it off. I don't care if it took me all year to change the motor. I would rather do that. It wouldn't take me that long, by the way, but I would rather do that than I had trust someone else to do it. Because this motor in this right here, this motor in this, when I bought it, was brand new, had 300 miles on it. The dealership rebuilt the motor at a cost of $5,500. It made it for a good while, because the unit wasn't really being driven. However, in the long run, the first real trip that went out, the first real trail ride went out, the motor grenaded. I ended up tearing the motor apart. The gap on the rings was 6 millimeters, which is, if you ever took a motor apart, that's not where they should be. And basically what I determined after looking at it, this was a new motor, 300 miles on it. They did rings, pistons, they did some seals. They didn't do the timing chains. They basically just put a few inside parts in there. What happens when you do that, you take a round piston and a round ring and you put it in a cylinder that's got some miles on it. Those cylinders will wear oval. And when they wear oval and those rings rotate into the wrong position, they will open up. And once they do that, the motor just starts falling apart at that point. Your compression's gone, you're smoking, you're everything. So don't ever do that. These rebuild kits for these things are cheap. They're $500, $550, and it's a bolt-on kit. Anybody can rebuild the motor in one of these older style Can-Am Commanders. This is it's a 2013 Can-Am Commander. So the motors are super easy to rebuild. It's like building a V-twin on a motorcycle. Or a VW or whatever. You just unbolt the parts, put them back on, make sure your torque specs are right, and somebody messed it up. Probably the cylinders were back ordered, and they thought they could just patch it with some pistons and some rings, but it doesn't work. You're wasting your time, you're wasting everybody's money, and you're ruining somebody's weekend if you do that. So find something to work on, but do it right. Y'all have a good one.